Welcome to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset podcast, powered by the Moran College of Entrepreneurship. I am Mark McNees, your host, and virtually in studio today we have Craig Saxner, second generation CEO of Professional Building Services. And welcome, Craig, and thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you having me.
You have a lot of FSU connections, and we definitely want to talk about your company. You've got a lot of accolades. You've won the Moran Institute 30 fastest growing companies. You've been a Seminole 100, which is all really great. But I was a second generation CEO for my father's company. It sounds like you're a second generation CEO. I'd love to hear about just your entrepreneurial examples that you had when you were a child growing up.
It's very simple. My dad was a very hard worker. His lifelong dream was to move to Florida. We're originally from the Chicago area and came down on vacation, answered a blind ad in the Miami Herald, went to work for a larger company. And after about a year, decided I can do this better. And that's what he did. So anytime I needed money for the movies or whatever it might be, he'd hand me basically a mop and tell me to go work. So that was my introduction to the business.
Great. How did he start out? What profession was the company called? Professional Building Services the whole time, or did you?
Initially, it was Classic Building Services. He went in with a partner, only lasted about a year. And then when they incorporated in 1981, he incorporated in 1981 as Professional Building Services.
Okay, great. And at that time, what services was your dad offering?
He started in the office space, commercial leasing, did a lot of office buildings, shopping centers, did a good bit of retail as well, bars, restaurants. You do what you have to do when you're starting a company. And then was able to, over time, pick and choose the areas he felt more comfortable in and the areas that he excelled more. And similarly, restaurant cleaning, that's all midnight till 5 a.m. And getting those phone calls at 3 a.m. that somebody didn't show up, that wasn't exactly for him.
Okay. Yeah, I totally understand that. Tell us a little bit about your FSU experience. You were an undergrad there. What else?
Sure. Graduated with class of 86. I was a student athlete, played baseball there as well.
Wow.
Both my children are graduates there, undergrad and postgrad as well. They're 2 years apart. My daughter Sarah graduated in 15, master's in 17. My son Ryan, 16 and 18.
Oh, wow. Wow, you're not professional, but FSU athlete. And so when did you go to work for your dad?
So I finished playing baseball here. I was just a guy, nothing special, but had a great time. We went to the College World Series in 1986. And from that, I got an opportunity to go to spring training. Didn't work out. So I went to work for a large real estate management company, Equity Properties and Development. I was learning how to lease shopping malls. And I had some days off. When I had days off, I would help my dad, and his start was starting to really take some legs on. And I had just met the woman I was dating, who became my wife of 37 years. They wanted to transfer me out of the area that I was in, and I didn't want to leave. And I decided to go to work for my dad.
What year was that?
That was 1988.
Okay, great. So how many years did your dad and you work together?
We worked together. He passed away 2 years ago. I the reins in the company pretty much, I would say 99, 2000, somewhere in there. He was still very involved. He did a lot of the back office stuff and looked over my shoulder more than I'd like, actually. But he was involved up in basically till the end.
Oh, wow.
He had a nice run of 40 plus years in the business. I've carried it on since.
Yeah. Family businesses. I was part of my family business until we sold it for about 13 years. And I remember Thanksgiving sometimes were difficult because we were at odds at the business, but Mom wanted to have a happy Thanksgiving and we would have to all play nice.
There was no off switch. Yeah. And my child rearing methods were a little different than his. I felt it was more important to be there for my children and support them in their, whether it's school, sports, clubs, whatever it might be. And for me to go out and make $100 or miss something, I'd rather stay with and go with my kids. So he never quite understood that till later when my kids were out of college, calling me regularly, involving me in their lives. So my wife and I Amy and I must have done something.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Tell us a little bit about your experience being in the JMI Executive Program.
Sure. I believe I was class of 2015 down here in Fort Lauderdale. Saw it had an FSU connection, thought it was interesting, didn't know what it was, where it was going to lead, invested, I don't know what it was, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, whatever it might have been. One of the things I really learned was I was able to work on my business instead of in my business. So I would basically shut down, check my messages at lunchtime, obviously, but pretty much shut down and focus on that. And was able to implement some of the things that I learned in the program. And a perfect storm. A couple years later, obviously COVID came around and we made a decision that not knowing what was going on, we decided to treat our customers fairly like we always did, but not everybody had a magic wand. If we spray this, we can make sure your office doesn't get COVID or whatever it might be. And I felt good about doing it that way. And our business model had changed, not on purpose, but it just morphed into more condo associations and HOA associations. All my employees were considered essential workers, and I didn't have to lay anybody off. Nobody missed a paycheck through the entire experience of 2020 and 2021.
Nice. So through that process, and you're a fast growing company, what kind of areas are you adding new products and services, or are you just growing in territory? I think I read somewhere that you're expanding into Tallahassee next year.
We're considering it, yes. I've got family up there. My son came back to Tallahassee after being 5 years of police officer down in Broward County. He's working up there he's the operations director for a corporate and student housing company. And we just want to be closer. My daughter's in Atlanta, so they'll give me more opportunity to go up and see how that goes. But we've expanded our services. Janitorial margins are very slim, and we have to be able to offer other services, the project work, the ancillary services, the power washing, the window cleaning. Okay. Handyman services has been a big one for us. Our associations trust us or we wouldn't be there, and they've always come to me, hey, we need this. Do you have a guy? Eventually we got a guy and then a couple more guys. So that's how that's worked out for us as well. We're currently from Dade County all the way up to Martin County. Okay. And we also have some subcontract work that we do throughout the state in the Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville area as well.
So what has been your kind of growth strategy overall? Is it word of mouth? Are you doing traditional type advertising? How do you grow your business?
A combination. It's word of mouth and building relationships. Property managers tend to be loyal. Board of directors, not so much, but property managers tend to be loyal. And when they leave that company, they generally take their book and then I'll go with them. I do a lot of networking, just trying to be out there. I'm always visiting clients, doing that kind of thing. And it goes a long way. I don't think in my space, traditional advertising works. I don't really think social media has really changed the way we do things. We've tried, really not with much success, but it's just me being out in the community and taking every opportunity that I approach to the best we could.
Gotcha. You were acknowledged as a Seminole 100, which is a really big deal. What year was that?
Actually, it's 4 consecutive years. I think our first one was in 22, I believe. And we've increased our rankings yearly, which is nice. And the event has grown as well. It's really turned into a great event. I think there was over 400 people there last year. We were on the floor at the Civic Center right under the scoreboard, which is cool. And it's nice seeing the same people and also meeting new people as well.
So what do you think, what do you credit for your business growth and your success? What's your secret sauce?
I like to think that I do things ethically. I like to be able to lay my head on my pillow at night and not have to worry what I did or what I left on the table. It's just treating people fairly. It's just the basic common tenets of being a good person. Like I said, our industry, I had to do a research project at one time, and they had to research the amount of companies that were registered as janitorial companies in Broward County. And there was, I think, 17 or 1,800 ranging from $5 billion to $20,000 a year, husband and wife working out of the back of their car and everything in between, not to mention all the unlicensed ones. So the competition is insane. It's just very difficult. And like I was saying before, margins are very thin. And with everybody being budget conscious for rightly, but people are always reevaluating, always thinking they could do things better and for less money. We've never been the cheapest. I will never be the cheapest. We have to charge a fair rate. We pay our employees fairly in the space that they're in based on their experience and skill set. And our employees tend to stay with us. So that's another value added proposition for us.
So how many people are working for you now,
Currently,
or
currently we have 35 employees that work for us. I have some subcontractors that do work for me as well, but 35 are on my payroll.
okay. So you're also on the Dean's Development Council. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you do? What is that?
That's a good question. I was asked by Jennifer Kovach, who is the leader down here in South Florida, if I'd be interested. And I was at the 30-year celebration from the Jim Moran Institute in St. Pete. And I got to meet with the Dean Fiorito and a couple of the staff members, and they asked would I be interested in doing it. And I just attended my first meeting. It was a very nice dinner at the Governor's Club and drinks, that kind of thing. And then we had meetings all day on Friday. And then the big perk was going to the Alabama game, which is, I thought was kind of cool. So we just learned how the college was growing, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, budgets. One of the really interesting things, they brought in a group of students. There was 4 or 5 of them giving presentations to us. And I'll tell you what, when I was 20 years old, forget it. These kids were so far advanced, knew exactly what they were doing. They were competing in international competitions, getting federal funding, et cetera. When I was 20, whatever. But it was very interesting in how they're growing, how they've got the building off site now and their plans for the future. It's winning.
Yeah, that's exciting. I've been really impressed with our students and how they rise to the occasion and how well they can come up with an idea and pitch an idea and how seriously that they take it. I didn't realize that you got to see part of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was extremely interesting. And some of the stuff they're doing, I tried to explain it to somebody and couldn't even explain the scientific depth that these kids were going into.
Yeah, that's interesting. As far as you see your business and the expansion of your business, what do you see on the horizon? What kind of challenges, unique challenges you're going to be facing either in the near future or in the next several years?
Rising prices for one, our insurance rates are through the roof. Fortunately, we're with our safety programs, that kind of things, still our liability insurance is high. Workers' comp obviously is high. The changing of with the current administration, with documentation, et cetera, everybody that works for us is legal with proper paperwork, et cetera. And I see that being more of an issue going down the road. And as the workforce shrinks, demands for wages go up, and it's very difficult to go back to a client and say, hey, look, in order to get the right person, I'm going to have to increase this. And they'll say, thank you. I've got a drawer full of proposals. I'll just call one of them and somebody will do it cheaper. So that's always interesting. Again, competition is competition. We do a good job. We charge a fair rate. It's the best I can do, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. The industry that I was in with my father was high lift equipment rental, boom lift, scissor lifts, and forklift. And I was there in a very transitional time over the 13 years that I was there, at a very transitional time where it was the businesses when I came in were primarily small businesses, local community owned businesses. And then toward the end, big giants like United Rentals and Sunbelt were coming in, and it really changed the industry from a relationship based industry where I knew these contractors, I knew the subcontractors and their challenges. And I really saw this shift to what you were just referring to. Hey, I got someone who's willing to do it for cheaper and it's basically the same piece of machinery. And
Right.
I like you, Mark, but just at the end of the day, it's a business decision. And that was challenging when the relationship part didn't matter as much. Is that kind of how you're seeing your industry go, or?
Absolutely. A lot of people, this is probably going to not sound great, but I deal with board members, and a lot of them are elderly. A lot of them come from different backgrounds, and a lot of them tend to think they're experts on pretty much everything.
Right.
For somebody to say, this is too much, or this paving project that this other company's doing is way too much, They don't understand the nuts and bolts. So I spent a good bit of my day educating the board members, saying it's $1,000. The reason it's $1,000 is this: we paid this. These are the hours. My automatic hard cash markups are FICA, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, my profit is this. Well, my profit's this small at the end, and they have no idea what costs actually are. They just feel it's too much. Last year's budget was 1,000. Can you do it for 800? No, sorry, I can't. Thing. And relationships are important in this business, and your word is important in any business, actually. And it's just been it's been a change. The big buzzword in everything these days is, sure, it can help do some of our administrative tasks or whatever, but still, a service business is a service business. You still need people, and to get good quality people, you have to treat them fairly, and you have to pay them competitively. So that's our biggest challenge, is finding the good people.
Yeah. Have you seen technology change your industry much over the past 10 years?
There's been some things. There's quite a bit of apps that help us track, whether it's hours or projects or whatever it might be. So that helps. Equipment, yes, we don't have the budget to go out and buy this $200,000 robotic cleaner thing. We're just using man hours in regular equipment, but there have been some advances in it for sure.
Interesting. And environmentally, has there been a shift? You've been in this business for what, 40, at least your family has been in this business for 40 plus years. As far as like the cleaning products, have you seen a customer demand or even a policy change on what kind of chemicals you can?
Absolutely.
What's acceptable? Could you talk a little bit about that?
I'd like to, sure. 10, 15 years ago, green products were everything. We have to go green. We have to do this. And a lot of the products that hit the market weren't up to par with the regular products. So you were actually using more. It was actually costing you more. Now that's kind of leveled off. Green products obviously are here and they're working correctly. They're not really, they're regulated, they're maintained, et cetera, but still it's vague when you say green. So that's a big issue. We can't just go dump a shop vac full of carpet cleaning solution down the street anymore. Not that we ever did, but there's a lot of environmental protections, and a lot of these chemicals, a lot of the paper products are coming from overseas. And so the products are increasing in price. Gas prices go up, our petroleum products, trash liners, that type of thing go up as well. It's just difficult to increase profitability when prices continue to rise.
Absolutely. Have you noticed, are there any HOAs that are asking you about green solutions, or is that not really happening?
HOA is not as much as the office piece of it is. HOA is a common area, a good bit of it's outside or it's a tower. But if you're in an office every day, you don't want to smell ammonia. You don't want to smell whatever floor stripper. And I totally get that. The HOAs, condo associations, they just want inexpensive and get it done and no complaints.
Interesting. So a lot of the students in our college, the entrepreneurship college, they watch this podcast, and I love having more seasoned entrepreneurs and business owners on the show because you have a lot of experience. What are some of the business principles you think that you have made a bedrock of your company that's really made a difference?
It's honesty and integrity first and foremost. What we promise, we deliver. We hope to anyway. It's very easy to get distracted by the shiny things, the big hit, going back to the baseball background, hitting a home run instead of chipping away, getting single. That's what I see a lot of the kids these days. They want to make that big score, build the company, cash out, sell, go on to the next thing. My daughter works in the venture capitalist space. Okay. I hear this thing from time to time, quite a bit actually, but it's just the basic tenets of being a good person and working correctly, treating people fairly, especially your employees, and having an open line of communication. You as a client, if you have a problem, if you don't tell me, sure, we have the inspections and we do all the walkthroughs and everything else, but if you're harboring something that I don't know about, which turns from a small flame into a big fire, it doesn't behoove either one of us to have that relationship.
So do you think your biggest challenge going forward is immigration policy and just access to workers?
I think it's more access to workers. Nobody grows up wanting to cut grass, clean toilets. Those are jobs that AI is not going to replace. So There's always a need for them, whether it's through circumstance or that's some people's ceiling, and some people are very happy with that. But for a lot of people, it's an opportunity to send a kid to a private school or have a second car or whatever it might be, or just to pay the bills, honestly. So I don't think that's going to change. We've always had difficulty finding good people. The majority of our people are internal referrals, which kind of pre-screens some people. Hey, I have a cousin who lives in Fort Lauderdale. He's looking for work. If you're working for me for several years, you're not going to recommend somebody that's going to disrupt your reputation by any means.
Yeah. So you said your daughter you have 2 children. You have a daughter and a son, you said?
I have a daughter and a son, correct.
And is your son in the business?
He is not. He works for a company in town, Southern Furniture. They do all the housing. He was a law enforcement officer for years.
That's right. You said that.
And I believe it's probably going to end with me. They're very satisfied in the roles that they're doing currently. My daughter said her second child is back to work, that kind of thing, and no desire. And she loves Atlanta.
And what's your feelings on that? Are you sad that you're going to sell your company and that you're not going to, your kids, the family legacy isn't going to go on, or
the company's provided for us, supported 3 families over all these years. And will I be sad? Probably, but also proud of the things that we accomplished and what we were able to obtain over the years and things we were able to do. It might change down the road, who knows? But as of right now, I don't see it.
Cool. One thing I like to ask every guest who comes in at the end of the program is if they could go back before they started their company, or in your case, going to work for your dad, if you could tell yourself one thing, what would you tell yourself?
That's an interesting question. I know you posed it to me before we went on the air, and I've been trying to think of the best answer for that. I think a steady climb is better than rocket ship ride. Instead of building a plane as you're flying, get everything established prior to it. We've expanded. One of my biggest mistakes in business was I took on a contract with a large municipality and almost sunk us, honestly. We were doing 11 locations, 30 something employees. Oh yeah, we pay in 30 days. They didn't pay in 30. They got very interesting. So I like the slow growth. I like the steady climb. And like I said, building a foundation and building on top of that as you proceed.
Yeah. My dad used to always tell us to get rich slow. My dad had a very similar philosophy as you. Well, hey, I appreciate you spending time with us and sharing about your company. Best of luck as you consider expanding here in Tallahassee, and hopefully some Tallahassee folks will be watching this video and you'll have a pre-baked customer base.
That'd be great. I really appreciate the opportunity. I just want to thank JMI for everything that's done for me. And if somebody listens to this and gets something out of it, I'd be very pleased.
Awesome.
Pleasure speaking with you, Mark.
Yeah. And thanks for your service to being on the Dean's Development Council. So that's a really great service, a way to give back. So we appreciate that.
Thanks.
So hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset, powered by the Moran College of Entrepreneurship. Hey, if you like this episode, please hit and definitely leave us comments. We love comments and we answer every single one. And be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss another amazing episode. We'll see you next time.